The rules are suspended. The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
There we have it. It has been officially gavelled in. The Congress appears to have now had its breakthrough and be on a path to avoid a government shutdown this weekend. Julia, I had to intervene so we could hear that, but go ahead.
No, absolutely. As we said, it's not finished till the gavel strikes, and there you have it. So we'll see what the timing turns out to be in the Senate. But reminder, this passed under suspension. So not only did it need to get a majority, it had to get a 2/3 majority, and Democrats helped it over the finish line. Now, how did this happen? How did President-elect Trump be okay with the debt ceiling extension stripped from this provision? Well, a few Republican lawmakers told me that there was a handshake deal in the Republican conference meeting today where Speaker Johnson and House Republicans agreed that they would tackle the debt ceiling extension in the first reconciliation package under President Trump. So they would raise that by $1.5 trillion, and then in addition to that, go for $2.5 trillion in spending cuts. Now, some Republicans have good faith that this handshake deal will hold, but you have others like Representative Burchett who called it a joke, saying that he'll believe it when he sees it. And so this kind of kicks the can down the road. But for now, Speaker Johnson does not have to worry until after the holidays. And with Elon Musk seeming to support him, perhaps his power might not be quite as in jeopardy as it may have seemed 24 hours or so ago, Ari.
Julia, thank you, and thanks for your reporting. We've been leaning on all of our Capitol Hill journalists and colleagues. Juanita, I want to turn to you on the politics of this. I mentioned in our earlier coverage this week, there are usually off-ramps to these shutdowns. They usually get past them, and that certainly was the case finally tonight. But we also learned a few things along the way. And Elon Musk, I was mentioning just moments ago, he started the week as a kind of a radical. And by Friday night, he didn't get the main thing he was demanding. There are literally dozens of tweets to show the record of what he said he wanted. And he's saying, hey, the status quo, current incumbent Republican politician running the House did it as well as he could given the situation. And I'm wondering if we're watching on-the-job training going from radical to incumbent political talking points pretty quick. And what does Elon have to show, I guess, for this week?
I feel like the only thing he has to show is that he's a South African billionaire who doesn't know anything about Congress or American politics. That's the headline here, Ari. He's backing off because he's starting to learn about the guardrails associated with him taking something from an idea that he posts about on the social media site that he purchased to actually affecting it as a plan and realizing that it's unrealistic and disconnected from reality in D.C. He's going to run into that a lot, Ari. And I think that's something that I maybe will slow him down. I do think that is not going to stop him threatening congressional Republicans again and again and again. And let's be real, that's a strong arm tactic he saw Donald Trump deploy for years. And so I think this is a wake up call to them about who's in control. And I hope that the headlines about this bill passing that we just saw was brought to you by Democrats. That's the headline. And that's why I laughed a little bit when the reporter was talking about a handshake deal among Republicans, when Republicans can't do anything without Democrats. They have no control here, even though they have a minuscule margin going into the next Congress. And with that in mind, I look to Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and I look to Democrats, and I wonder how long they will hold the line, how long they will hold up these boundaries that they set this week as an example to a guardrail on what Republicans can and can't do, because Republicans cannot do anything in the next Congress or this one without Democrats.
Molly, can I ask you a simple question?
Sure.
Have we learned this week that writing legislation might be harder than writing tweets?
I mean, I already knew that, and maybe Elon knows that now as well. I think Juanita is right that this was a pretty pointless expenditure of political capital on Elon Musk's part. He accomplished basically a 3-day delay and had very little to show for it. This bill does not reduce spending from what would have been in the original bill. It may, in fact, be more expensive. Most of the top line items that were important to people, there are some bells and whistles that got dropped, but most of those big top line items are still in this bill, which is why the House Democrats and the White House, and it looks like the Senate Democrats have come around to support it. They did not get the one demand that President-elect Trump had. So he didn't get anything out of this delay either. All they got was a lot of aggravation and I think a wake-up call for Republicans that, as Juanita said, it is not going to be easy for them to govern with the tiny margins that they have next year. And there is going to be a lot of this type of chaos, as there was during the first Trump presidency. I mean, I am certainly having episodes of deja vu, remembering how chaotic it was the first time around. This time, with the addition of Elon Musk, it may be even more so.